wait for this to be sent to me. Just a little bit of lag as everything loads up, always good. There's Fairless sending me it. Okay. Gosh. Nice replays, boys. Right, first draft, so... Emperor bans Decker first, so that's Juke City, ban Decker, their first ban. So it's a reasonable first ban. Usually, if you're banning Decker, you're eliminating Howie gadget combos, so you're trying to get the Bellica yourself. That's usually what you're trying to pick first. So, respectfully, Ignite did the right thing by banning Bellica here. It denies that very powerful mid lane first pick, and if you don't have a Decker with a Howie gadget to combo with it, then you're not going to make good use out of them as much as before. I was just watching your VOD. I noticed you got on. What do you mean without skate? Oh, right, oh, I see, it just died. Yeah, well, that's quite lucky for you, isn't it? So then Emperor first picks Narbash. So Juke City first picked this Narbash pick, which is good, because he's a strong support, and they also already had the Decker. But it is a little too much priority on the Narbash, I feel. They need to make sure they can run other supports, primarily Richter, because this looks like a comp that could actually start to run Richter if they crafted it a bit more around it. So we'll get a bit more into that, but I wouldn't first pick the Narbash. I don't think he's quite first pick worthy. I don't think he's quite at that point. He's good, and Decker is banned, so he is probably the best support you can pick, but I prioritize other picks that you can get and such, because straight away, Ignite pick up Grux Howie, which is great. They're both solid picks. To be honest, I do value the Quang and the Sev a little stronger than Grux at the moment, and Sev isn't even picked here, which is a huge surprise. Usually you have one of the three banned and the other two picked. If not, you have two definite picked, and it's usually the Sev and either Grux Quang. So I probably would have gone with Sev Howie here. I think Sev has a little more synergy of Howie. You can craft a really nice scaling comp here, basically, off of this. Of course, with Narbash being taken away, you're going to be sticking with Richter too, and Grux is generally better with the Richter, but if you're planning on running the Rampage, I'd run the Sev, because the Sev combo's better with the Rampage. So Fairless states that he's uncomfortable on the Richter at the moment, which is fair enough, that's cool. So that's what they should start to think about before at the start of the draft. They should think, right, so we're probably going to be going Rampage support, not Richter support here. So what jungler can we most complement that with? And it's going to be the Sevarog, that's scaling. You give the early game pressure of the Rampage to keep the Sevarog safe in his jungle, and then it allows the Sev to scale up to late game, and then you've got someone who can dive in with the Sev, basically, if in the right situation, basically. You can also solo people out, you can get them stunned very easily, and stuff like that. So they could have very easily picked Sev Howie here, and that's what I personally would have gone for as well. And even if you give Grux to the other team, it's fine, because in my opinion, Quang's a better jungler anyway than Grux in this current meta. So then Juke City pick up Gadget Rev, so they've got Gadget Rev Narb now, which is okay. You could fear the enemy team picking up a Quang offlane. Of course, Ace says he's not comfortable running it. This would be great to take away the Quang, but then you still give them Sev. Quang does complement their comp a little bit more, but I feel like they made sort of the right picks here. They need their mid laner, basically, of Howie already taken, and then Revenant's a really good pick, so it takes away from the other team. And Sparrow is exactly the right reaction here, so they go Fang Sparrow. I think that's the perfect reaction to go here. So I think Ignite did really good this draft with these two picks. You've got your hyperscaling sort of carry that would have gone really well with the Sevarog, and you've got this one of the best offlanes, I think, probably, if not the best offlaner next to Greystone. It might not be equal, but, you know, I'd pick Fang over Greystone in some cases. But then again, you could have run Greystone in this comp as well, but maybe it's a little too slow, so if you have the Grux, you probably go the Fang, so that makes sense. But if you were crafting this around the Sevarog, you could have had Sevarog and Greystone, which would have made a much more solid comp here, and of course then react with the Greystone Quang, which makes sense, it rounds off the comp nicely, and then we finish off with the Rampage, which they probably should have thought about initially. So Ignite just need to think, maybe to improve their draft, just need to think ahead on what sort of comp they're going to be crafting here. If Narbash is picked and Decker's banned, what support are you going to go? Are you going to go the Richter? If you can't, then you're going to go the Rampage. Okay, so which jungler is going to go well with this? I'd then pick the Sevarog instead of the Grux. So it's just thinking ahead a little bit. Otherwise, that draft is perfect. I'd just simply swap out that one jungle pick, basically. For Juke City, in the first couple picks, I wouldn't first pick the Narbash. That sets up the other team for a very good start to the draft. It's a little I don't think Fang needs a buff, by the way. If he needs any buff, it's just reduce the cooldown on his hamstring a little bit. Otherwise, he's going to be too strong otherwise. But in this meta, he's in a good spot. don't want him too overtuned, and then, you know, nerfed to oblivion and gone again. But then the rest of the draft was pretty much fine from them. It's just that first pick, Narbash, that sort of set them up into a bad spot, which made the rest of the picks dodgy. But we'll move on and have a look at the start. So we've got dummy awards. Now, I know a Brawl's going to break out, like, immediately. So we have Juke City over here. They do try this strange thing. Now, look, this tactic sort of makes sense if you have, like, a Grux and an aggressive offlaner, but these guys have a Greystone Quang. Look what they try and do here. So we'll just slow it down a bit. So they've just seen that someone's placed a ward over there from the flash, but they can see Hollow jumping down here, right? And they've gone so far forward with a Greystone and a Quang. And Ignite actually flank around here. So when you've got a Quang and a Greystone, there's no reason for you to be this far up. So this is Juke City's mistake by going this far up with probably the worst level 1 hero in the game, and then a Quang who's jungle. And now Swecker's going to make a huge mistake here. So as a jungler, guys, like, if you're a jungle main, take this into account, right? Level 1, even dying here, you know, just let yourself die. Don't level a different ability that's going to screw your clear, right? So we can see Sweck has started a Beastmaster's Scythe. If he's got a Scythe, he wants to start his healing, right? His lifesteal. What Sweck is going to do here, as you're going to see in a second, is he's going to level up his Tether. And what he does with this Tether is chuck it down to try and save his life. Not only is he pretty much guaranteed dead here, and he's basically just wasted leveling that up, he now doesn't have his lifesteal. This will now make it even worse for him. It's better to just accept your death here, level up your lifesteal, go back to base and give them the first blood, and then go straight to your jungle. Because even if you survive here from the Tether, you still go back to base late, and now you have this Tether in the jungle. It's better for you to die here and then take your lifesteal so you don't screw up your level 3. Because this is going to, like, snowball the other team, basically, giving them a huge advantage. So this one thing by Tracker is a huge mistake. You should never level up an ability that differs from the one that's going to enhance your clear the most. Some heroes it doesn't matter too much. You can get away with a little bit of different ability leveling if it's going to benefit you a bit. Maybe Grux pull or something, but you still want Grux's right click if you want most efficient jungle clear. And you know, you don't want to ever level the charge. Like if you level Grux charge level 1 to escape something, you're going to screw yourself. So already they've given away first blood, and now Sweck is going to have a horrible time clearing his jungle. So that's the biggest issue, but it was very good for Ignite to actually collapse on that from around the back. They played very well there with their positioning. Protag even gets a lot of poke on here, and he's going to go back to base late, I think. Or is he not going to go back? He has to go back to base. Don't know why he's running forward here. He should just go back in this case. He's trying too hard to place his dummy ward. At least just place it further back, like here, where it can still watch the gap where they cross over, but there's no reason for him to be that far forward. Because he risks killing himself there. And he also delays his back by ages, so now he's not going to be farming for a long time. So again, you've got 2 delayed, like, farming, basically, from the jungle and the offlaner, which is a huge issue. There we go. I think I had to sneeze 1 second. Okay. Right, so we'll see Swecker start his clear here. He does get to the jungle in time, because he did die quite early, so that's lucky for him. But as you can see, he's got his Tether now, so he's probably going to take a lot of damage from this clear, so we'll probably catch a little bit back up with him. Very risky to walk through the jungle with support like that, because you could end up taking XP there. Luckily, I don't think Janto is going to take any. That would have screwed the jungle even harder. Any XP you lose on your first clear is a huge, huge deficit to your team. Janto comes around the back here, looking for a stun onto Feng. He does land it. They get some good poke off. Q way too early by Revenant there. You shouldn't Q that early. You should have got another auto off or two. Unless he had to reload, in which case they needed to communicate earlier that the support was going to come in, so that Emperor would then, you know, have a full clip basically to go on the Feng Mao to get the most damage off. Because Ace can pretty much clean that up easily. But Ace is a little too far forward here, and in my opinion, should be doing his offlane camps. He should have started on this camp, and then come straight back to lane because they're pushing. If they were going to start freezing, he could go do the other camp, but they're starting to push, so then he could have come. So he's lost a couple white minions of farm here on offlane. So Ace, just remember, at the start, always go towards your white camp. If they're hard pushing it initially, you can come to lane and come soak the XP. If they're undecided, which is what they were at first, then you can take the first white camp. And then as you're taking that first white camp, if they end up freezing, then you can take the second one. So that's something for Ace to take into account there. Just a simple offlane thing. This is one of the first tricks of offlane. Now, I just want to go back a bit and look at mid lane, because they're both level 2, and I want to see what happened here. So, oh my god, they were level 2 for a while. Here we go, right. So, level 1. Now, a trick to mid lane, guys. This is one of the most common MOBA mid lane mechanics, basically. in mid lane. So if Bram's here, this is for Bram. If not, Wacko, take notes for him. Team Supreme, if he's ever around, you take notes on this. This is a very standard mid lane thing you need to do, right? So level 2 is a huge power spike for casters. You get 2 abilities, they still have 1. So when you get to this minion wave, this is the minion wave you're going to hit level 2 off of, right? So it doesn't matter what the previous waves were like before. If you're both full HP like this, you're going to have an advantage if you hit level 2. Gadget's not so great at this, so she's the one that wants to play around this safely. At this stage, what this Howie wants to do is he wants to focus the minions down a little bit more. He wants to push a little bit, right? You always want to push this wave a bit. You want to sort of make it equal, but you want to get that one last hit faster than they do. So like, he's going to keep going, and if you look at his levels now, like Gadget gets some pokes. This is good by Team Supreme. He's suppressing basically the aggression that can come in a bit. But look, you see, he's about to hit up from one more minion. So what he wanted to do is, as this wave started, he wanted to shoot the second minion earlier, because he wanted this minion to die before this one did, right? So this one should still be full HP, and then this one should die, then he'll have 2 full HP melee minions, and what he does then is he runs forward as he's killing this one, and then he can level up his Q, so he should have landmine level 1. I don't think he actually does he? Let's click on him. No, he took rocket first, I think, or mines. Don't know why he took mines first, so that's a mistake from himself anyway. He should always take landmine level 1, and then his Q level 2. So the sticky mines is a mistake. Level up landmine at level 1. Almost in every single case, it's rare you'll take the Q. The E does almost as much damage level 1. Not quite, but allows you to land an extra order, which is essentially the same damage then. And it also puts them out of position. It's also your safety tool. So there's a lot you can do with the E, so you should usually always take it level 1 and level your Q level 2. And then what you do is you're going to hit level 2 off of that minion, and then you go straight onto the Team Supreme, basically, yeah? So as soon as they kill this minion, you're walking forward, and then you should be, standing about here by the time he's here if he wants to farm. If he doesn't back off now, he's going to then get, landmined into the wave, and then Q'd, and he's going to take a lot more damage because you have the extra ability over him, and it forces a lot of aggression onto him. I'm just going to let the something time out, but thank you ever so much, Shake Left, aka MDK. Massive Dawn Killer, I know that's you. Thank you for the 3 months, man, very much appreciated. Cheers. But yeah, so basically then Team Supreme would take a huge chunk of damage. He does have the healer token, so they've got the right thing for the healer token meta in mid lane. If he didn't have a healer token, it'd be even more punishing to do so, but it sets you up for a bit of success. You can get about half their HP for only losing about a third of yours, so it just gives you a good trade, and it's known as just the level 2 cheese, basically, right? It happens on duo lanes a lot in 2v2 in League, but you don't have that in this game, right? So it mainly happens around the mid lane with the whole level 2 trade here, basically. The same sort of thing can happen with level 3, but you see it mostly on the level 2 because it's more predictable and more planned. So you need to learn how to play around this as a mid laner, and it's very important. So if you're looking to get into mid lane, this is the #1 trick that Mikey basically abuses mid lane, to actually win early in his lane. He gets such a huge advantage from abusing this every time that no one else seems to take into account. So that's one huge trick for mid lane. If we look at that duo lane, they've pretty much got a freeze going here, it seems. It doesn't look like they've put too much pressure on him, like he's just been farming farming his jungle, it looks like, basically. He's only got a couple last hits, so he's just been farming this. I think he might have got a couple from the other camp, didn't he? Yeah, so he did that camp, then this camp, and he's just been farming while the enemy team freeze, which is the correct thing to do, so often for protagonist, and the duo lane's just freezing, so we can carry on moving forward, I guess, now. But yeah, good start so far. Of course, they're not from Juke City with their silly start with the over-aggression. If we do look at jungle, so Hollow actually took my build here, which is, but it was an older version, but yeah, it's still one of my older builds. But he started the Stalker Cypher, and the whole point of this build was to start Vampelix or Madstone. So he doesn't kite very well at the moment, so I know he's a bit rusty and such, but as you can see, he doesn't actually kite his camps very well. He lets the white minions chain auto-attacks a lot. He takes a lot of damage from it, so even though he's got a Stalker Siphon, he's lost about half his HP, when with Vamp Madstone, I'd probably be about 2/3 HP right now, building up to the full HP, so I'd be almost full HP by the end of the clear, with a big chunk of green buff, and I'd have, of course, a Madstone worth of damage for ganking, so it's just a little bit misplayed on the build and the kiting in the jungle. You'd pick up the Stalkers around 3rd back on this build, if you needed it as well. It's more of a situational item, so it's not a guaranteed item. In terms of Swecker, of course, as we can see, he's just clearing his jungle as normal. He's got Tether and he's got E. He seems to be clearing it okay, because he is Quang after all. The Scythe, it still clears it really, really quick. So he's got his Tether and his E. He should be able to finish this white minion just about in time, but as you can see, he's a little lower HP and stuff. He's not full HP, and he's had to use a decent amount of mana, so he could have been full mana, full HP here, so he slightly screws his clear. Luckily, as Quang, it's not a huge hit to him later, the Tether, but it could have been worse. But luckily, he's rectified it a bit of the Beastmaster's Scythe. So he picks up a red buff here. This is huge for Quang. And then immediately you saw he headed towards mid, and now he heads towards right. And Hollow does the same thing, right? So he heads towards their offlaner, basically. Now, the issue of this is, so you can see Protag is very far up. So this is Protagonist's fault. It's 3 minutes. 250, Protagonist should be moving back. So this is a mistake from Protagonist to be this far up. So it is technically correct for Hollow to move this way. Realistically, he should go mid. In the meantime, what's Forsaker doing? He's actually going towards the same sort of, you know, mirror match, basically. He's moving towards the opposing off lane. The issue of this is Feng Mao is actually by his tower. He also has a jump. He also has a shield, basically. He probably hasn't got both of those at the moment because he's level 2. But, you know, he has more mechanics to deal with it. So he's actually got... I don't think it's actually going to show me, is it? There you go. He's got his Q in his hamstring. So he's still got the dash. So this is really safe play for me. So this is really good because the lane's pushed towards him. So this is mismanagement of the duo lane wave, basically. And because of how Fearless and Wacko set up their freeze, this is really good by them up the top. Protag has to come this far to farm. Protagonist needs to take this as a loss and just farm like 1-stack camps and such and keep going back and maybe leeching some XP and back off when he knows where the jungler is. But he should never be this far up without jungle knowledge, especially just after 3 minutes. So we've seen Certified make this mistake as well. This is a mistake by Protagonist, but then Swek is also making a mistake going here. The Quang is a very good mid lane ganker. If he's here, like at this bit, he can tether like all the way around here. So he can tether the center of the lane just from entering the lane, basically. So his tether is very, 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 very strong in ganking. It's the same with the Sev route. And you've also got Team Supreme here, who could follow up on it very easily by speeding himself in, if he's got speed gate. If not, he should have level 2 mine anyway. Let's just play a bit just to see. Yeah, he's got level 2 mine, so that's way better. So if the tether lands, he gets a guaranteed level 2 mine and the right click on him. And the Howie's unable to landmine himself out of the tether, so he has to wait until it's out. So Quang could then come in, and he could basically pick up a free kill onto the howitzer, yeah? But what does he do? He goes towards right lane. And he has a red buff too, so he's going to have even more burst to kill this Howie, basically. And you had Janto running over, so you would have got a follow-up stun. So this was pretty much a sure kill if they went straight into mid lane, which then counteracts the negative consequences of Protagonist being this far up in this lane. You see? So we're going to see how this unfolds, basically, now. So you can see Protag's way too far up. Fearless takes the right route by going that way, and Hollow does the right thing by staying down here. I think Hollow's probably going to grab here. No? Oh, really late grab. What he should have done is waited more towards here, done an auto attack, and instantly turned around and got the grab off ASAP so that Fearless could then have stunned, and then Wacko could have gone on him. So Hollow just needed to position slightly better to here, and then he shouldn't have auto attacked. In that case, like, he could have auto attacked if he's standing here, but because he was standing about here, he auto attacked, and then he lost his distance due to the melee, you know, what's it called? Slow, basically, the movement speed penalty, that's the word I'm looking for. Basically, you hit them, you get slowed, and then he got more distance, and then he got his jump off, and then you weren't going to grab him, so you had to grab instantly at that point. So that was a little mechanical misplay from Hollow, and Fearless wasn't able to then follow up, and Wacko is then, you know, missing out on tons of farm because of this, so it sort of hurts them a lot. And you see how this failed, basically? If the Quang went mid here, he would have been able to get a kill onto the howitzer, which would have been huge, gets his mid lane ahead, applies a lot of pressure, and it makes up for that, you know, lack of early game, basically, that went wrong. So yeah, basically just a bit of a mistake in that regard. I'm just quickly checking messages because I have so many. There we go. Get those out the way, Discord. But yeah, so could have been a free kill here. If we just go back a bit, we can see what happened here with Swecker. So he grabs the red buff. So he should go mid here, right? As I said, insta-go mid with Janto, land the tether as Bram comes back into lane as he walks around this corner or tries to run away there, follow-up stun, lots of gadget damage, he dies. Instead, Swecker goes this way with Janto. They also should know that it's got a dummy ward here still, because the dummy wards haven't timed out yet. And he goes forward, he goes to tether, Fengmao simply dashes away. And now Swecker's wasted a bunch of time. What Swecker's now doing is also wrong. He now leaves. So he's applied pressure in this area, and he instantly goes away. He's still got a red buff to utilize. He has 1-stack camps to farm. That red buff isn't going to last until he gets, like, by the time he gets over here to the 2-stack camps. Plus, he doesn't really want to leech off of the offlaner here. So what he's doing is he's leaving essentially this lane, which he could then push in. So you still at the carry of the last hits, but you basically right-click this wave, try and AoE it down a bit, and apply pressure to the tower. You could also look to tower dive the Feng, basically, as well. But instead, he leaves, which is, again, another mistake, basically. So he goes to the wrong lane, and then once he gets to that lane, he then doesn't do anything there, and then leaves, and is now going to end up farming these 1-stack camps, which is incredibly inefficient, basically, for the early game, especially while he has a red buff to abuse. So he's not utilizing his resources to their maximum, basically. Hollow, at this point, is running somewhere. He should basically do his 1-stack camps and then go back here, like 2 1-stack camps and go back after the failed of a gank. Or again, he could push the lane, but they wanted to freeze, so that means he doesn't want to. He could also farm this 4-stack camp. Instead, he goes straight for a gank. Now, W wards have run out, so this is really well timed. So basically, at this stage, you know that Hollow just ganked on the other side of the map, right? You've seen him there. He's used up his river buff. He's going to probably go to his green side jungle, but it takes about, as you can see, about 20 to 30 25, 30 seconds to move across the entire map. So you should assume that in about 30 seconds you've got no wards up, because, you know, your dummy wards have run out and your support hasn't kept his wards, it seems. Or, no, he's gone circlet. So you should know at this stage that you've just pushed into the tower, your jungler's moved away, so you've got no jungle pressure on this side of the map, and their jungler's been missing for 30 seconds, who was on the other side of the map. You can't just assume he's going to farm green side, you can't just assume he's going to do these offlane camps, which are incredibly stacked, which he should do in the next couple minutes, hopefully. You have to assume he's probably coming here. If you don't know where their jungler is, you assume he's coming to you, yeah? That's the general rule, providing you don't have the vision. So what you can see is here is Emperor tries to get some poke onto the tower, Feng goes in, and this was a clear indication. Feng was standing here instead of back here, basically, right, with 2 people at his tower. That means he's most likely got someone coming. So even just the body language of the offlaner was telling Emperor and Janto here that someone was on their way, and you hadn't seen the Grux for 30 seconds. So this was just a bit of communication, map knowledge and stuff, and looking at what's going to be happening, and then your lack of vision control. So you're going to see that Hollow gets here, and now Emperor has to back off. It was a good initiation by Ace. The issue is he got stunned instantly. Now this should be a sure kill on Emperor, right? You got 2 level 3 guys, 2 level 2 guys, and these 2 are 2 big burly fighters. You got a support carry here. So Hollow goes in, he auto right clicks, which is fine. He should grab here, which is very good. He grabs both of them. Ace moves back over here, so he should preempt the grab here. This is actually quite a cool screenshot, but he should preempt the grab here. And then go forward, basically, into the Grux to then get a follow-up auto attack, right? But instead, he moves forwards, and now he's going to miss an auto attack there, which matters. That matters in itself. So this is already a bit of a mistake here. So then he goes forward, and then hits, so you get a couple more hits on Emperor here, and then he does some fancy jukes. Ace misses another auto, mainly due to mispositioning, so, you know, he stays too far forward towards their side of the map, as he did get grabbed, and then he comes towards the grab as Emperor moves back up. So he ends up missing a couple autos, he uses a good dash, gets another auto off. At this point, they need to split up, so they've already messed up here. This could have been a sure kill just at that point, but now they're having to chase too far, but Gento's done a good job here, basically, and kept his circle on Emperor, which has helped a lot. So we see a charge forward by Hollow. As you can see, Swecker's already roaming over, so this is good by Swecker to get here. And then you can see Hollow pick up the kill there with Ace. But now look where these two are, and you've got Janto and Swecker here. So it took them so long to get this kill that Swecker's now able to respond, and Hollow's already very low and used his charge. So he takes a lot of damage here. Ace should easily get out. He hamstrings, walks away, so Ace does the right thing here. Hollow will die to the Tether, and you end up trading 1 for 1. It's not a terrible trade. You're giving a kill to their jungler for a kill to your jungler, but you're killing their carry, which in theory is better. But that carry can go back and fill a Madstone anyway. But then Hollow can go back and he could buy wards anyway, or Vampiric Madstone, whatever he'd want. He should buy wards, yeah. So yeah, basically a misplay basically on the gank by Ace and Hollow. Just try and coordinate a little bit more. Hollow needs to communicate when he pulls. Of course, I could hear the comms for you guys. He wasn't going to say he was going to pull, and then Ace didn't know, and then he went too far back. Ace also used the hamstring too early. I do agree with Master there. What you want to do, Ace, is when you're playing Feng, right, your only CC is the slow. As an offlaner, you shouldn't CC them before your jungler is in range to do damage, basically, unless you absolutely must. Those two walked right up to your tower here. Hollow could have charged in, and then you could have hamstringed, which would allow him to auto right click, auto grab off of that combo, even if it's just on the Revenant, right? You don't go for both kills ever on the dual lane, right? You always go for 1 kill, and it's almost always the carry unless you have to go for the support. So you try and go for the 1 kill and not be greedy to get the Assure on it. So basically you just then initiate onto the carry as soon as the Grux charges in, and then you get to utilize the Feng Mao slow on with 2 allies rather than just 1. Okay, Ace? So that's just a thing with Feng Mao. It's also a thing with, like, if you're playing Rampage offlane, right, you just stun the 1 guy, right? If you say you're playing Grux offlane, you grab the 2 guys. You grab them when your jungler's in range, or you grab 1 guy that's in range, right? You don't try and just go in first, grab them, then your jungler shows up once the CC is off. So that's one thing for Ace to think about as an offlaner. You need to try and use your CC once your jungler's in range of the targets, so we can follow up on it. So that's the general idea. Demonic Tactic just subscribed to Twitch Prime. It's not going to pop up because for some reason Twitch Prime and new subs and stuff is being really weird. It'll probably pop up in about a few minutes, but thank you ever so much for the sub nonetheless. I'll, you know, refer to it when it pops up, sir, but thank you regardless. Ooh, let's breathe for a second, right? We're not even 5 minutes in yet. Oh, there you go. And then the follow comes up. So you got the follow there, but the sub will come a bit later, but thank you ever so much, sir. There is a lot to think about, you guys. There's a lot to go over. Like, as I can see, just these 5 minutes I can write an absolute essay on. And that's not a bad thing. That just is your brand new team and stuff. It's really cool, and there's lots of stuff you can learn. But I hope it's going to be helpful to you that I can mention this stuff and break it down for you. I love this bug, by the way. If you've seen this, quite look at this. It's the stupidest bug I think I've ever seen. I don't even know. Alright, let's watch for a little bit and let it play. Okay. Good. Glad I'm help free. So, Bram goes for the 1v1 here into Team Supreme. He does miss his landmine there, and he would have had the kill if he landed it. Team Supreme did a good job to juke that, basically, but we're just going to watch it back in slow-mo, right? And the landmine is instant from Howie. So you see Team Supreme's making a mistake by tanking the wave here, and Howie does the Raven coming forward. As soon as Howie comes forward here, Team Supreme should back off, but he's still farming, which is a huge mistake. So, there it... Oh, that's to hell with you of the resub. Well, let's let that play before I go over this, but thank you very much for the resub, sir. Very kind of you. Of course, I haven't streamed for a bit, guys, so a lot of resubs will be popping up as you guys share them. But, yeah, it's because I haven't streamed for a little bit, basically. Getting a bit of a break. We're going to have 4 days of good streaming here, and that's why I want to do things like this. Get a bit of unique aspect on the stream. So we'll slow it right down here as he uses the mine. Oops. Let's just go forward 10. Oh, we're just missing it. Let's just go back a little bit. There we go. Right, come on, go use that mine. So we see how we go forward here. There we go. So he lands an auto attack, which is good. And right now, he should use his landmine here, right? He should use it like on top of the gadget, basically, right? For the guaranteed damage into Q, because he's pretty much going to kill her with the full HP. Heck, what you should do is probably chuck it in front of her and knock her into the wall, into this crevice, and then Q them into the wall while the minions are shooting them, and then run up and get another auto attack off where you're going to get the assured kill. What Bram does is try to predict some movement here, and you can see he goes for the landmine in a second here. So he does another auto attack, which is greedy in itself, but right now he should be landmining here, and he puts the landmine up here. So of course, he's trying to basically deny the movement to the tower here, but he's predicting movement. Team Supreme there, you could see, for about half a second there, was already moving the other direction. You could already tell from his feet that he was going to move that way. So it's a bit of a mechanical misplay from Bram to place it here, but you have to remember, when a target's this low, they're dead from the mine Q and the range minion shooting anyway. So you might as well just put the mine on top of the guy, yeah? It doesn't matter where you chuck him, as long as it hits him, because you get the guaranteed Q to follow up. The issue is you try and predict movement and try and be greedy, and prevent him from going a direction, when you're using it more like a zoning mine in that regard. You could have maybe popped it a little bit quicker and popped it off and actually hit him, but now you end up wasting the mine. You might as well keep it there, by the way, rather than actually pop it, just in case he does move back into it. And then he moves this way. Then you get another auto attack off, which is good, and then you go for the Q, but then you end up missing the Q, I think. Because this is definitely in range. It actually goes past him. So yeah, you end up missing to the right a little bit. Good jukes by Team Supreme nonetheless, but a bit of a mechanical misplay from Bram when he could have just simply put the landmine on top and then followed up with the Q. So that's the thing for Bram to take into account, just for Howie mechanics basically, but good jukes by Team Supreme nonetheless. Did Hollow just get a kill? I guess that was a bug from earlier. Because he did not just kill the Revenant. Apparently he killed Revenant again, guys. Hollow likes killing Revenant, apparently. OP. Right. Let's just look at the state of the builds quickly. So this is quite greedy by Fearless to actually go into a Hunter's Drink healer token, by the way, especially as a support. I wouldn't run the Hunter's Drink like this. I wouldn't run it level 1 at least, because you're not going to get to utilize it fully for ages. Thanks for the follow, Carolyn. So I wouldn't necessarily run it like this. Ace has his health pot healer token. Wacko still has a ward, which is okay. It's fine for lane, not too bad. Hollow made the mistake of going for Madstone here instead of wards. Should have definitely 100% gone wards on that first back if he's gone Stalkers. You can fit, like, if you start Vamplix and Madstone, you can fill the Madstone, then go for the wards. But you should almost certainly go for the wards if you're starting the Stalker Siphon on your first back. Otherwise, that's fine. Rustbreaker on the Revenant makes sense. Did he sell? If he sold his Madstone for that, that's kind of a mistake. Not sure why that happened. Protagonist build Madstone is okay. Janto's got Lord's Ward Circular, so this early stuff is okay. So what we see here is Hollow's just seen Forsaker go into mid lane. Forsaker should go for Bram here. So if you look at where Team Supreme is, he's going back anyway, but you've got a red buff Quang here. You should just literally tether and right click this guy just for the value on it basically. Walk up, maybe get some autos, make him back off. I normally start ward in 2 tokens because the extent of 1. Yeah, pot and 2 tokens. Yeah, I understand. Like I figured it was because of you didn't get to sell your dummy ward, and that's why I said it's okay to do that, to keep the ward. If you look at what Undead Pilot does on Revenant at the moment, he starts Assassin's Ward, and he actually keeps it until his support gets Lord's Ward, and then the support rushes Quenching. So, if you ever seen our scrims, you'll see that happen quite often. But yeah, so overall, you can see where the dual lane pressure is here. These guys froze better, they've also pushed better. So overall, the dual lane management from Wacko and Fearless is how I expected it to be. They're more experienced, they can know how to manage the waves better, and they've been able to farm more efficiently and out-pressure the tower. Over Emperor and Janto, basically, yeah. So this is really well done, basically, by their dual lane, and a bit more poorly done from Juke Cities. This is their chance to redeem it a bit. They've got siege creep. They should push this into the tower, and they should do as much as they can. Now, this is a really nice roam from Bram, yeah. So he's got a red buff. They're going to be pushing in because they have a siege creep, and they can basically go for this gank. So Ace needs to go forward already here. Luckily, a really good landmine goes off, and this should be a free count temper. So this is these two overextending with, again, no vision. Look at the lack of wards here. So there's a huge lack of vision from Juke City, and a really good roam from the Howitzer, basically, from Bram to go pick up the kill. So he's doing a really good job here as a mid laner. A mid laner's job is to roam a lot of the time, and Team Supreme, he was back at base, so he couldn't react to it in any way, so he has to simply farm up his wave, which is really poor, and they lose their tower on the other side of the map. So this is overall just a huge win for Ignite at the moment. They're 3-1 up, and they've already got a tower. So really well played by Ignite at this point, to capitalize on the mistakes of Juke City, which is good thus far. So Protagonist is still level 3. He's a very, very weak Greystone here. Fearless should be careful trading like this. He has got a healer token as well, so you can see why he's going for it. He's trying to get the Greystone a bit lower while he's not level 5, so maybe they can go in for the kill if he rocks him and Wacko comes in. But otherwise, it doesn't really matter that trade. As you can see, healer token's so broken at the moment. Right, so Team Supreme just wards up his left river buff, so you can see how, you know, you've got the inexperienced competitive teams here with warding. Their wards are sort of plonked down in their own spots that they ward consistently, and they don't use the wards as efficiently as possible. There's no coordination in them, right? So we actually only have 4 wards on the map at 6.5 minutes, which is a pretty big mistake. Usually there's about at least 6 at this stage, like, you know, well, yeah, about 4 each team, so maybe up to 8, rather than 4 in total on the map. So you've actually got 2 of them in the same place, like here and here, right? So there's no vision on this side of the map, so the vision isn't being correlated into anything that the teams want to do with it. You know, there's just simply, I want to see this river buff, so I'm popping a ward here. We need to keep our carry alive, so I'm popping this ward here. There's no coordination in the fact that, right, we want to focus on ganking X lane, we'll put a ward here in the safe spot, and then we can aggressively award their mid spot here. This will allow us to have a second path towards their off lane and deeper into the jungle, where the jungler can then ward here if he wants to gank that lane, or he can simply gank the mid lane because they have no safe ward, you see. So there's a lot you can do with your vision control, but they're being very, you know, just standard with it. Which is fine for newer teams, but it's just a thing they could also work on, is coordinating their wards towards the lane to gank, which is a bit more of an advanced thing to do. So Hollow gets a black buff here. Meanwhile, they actually let this buff just stay here, and now Fearless can go get this. This is a big mistake. Team Supreme should have dropped down and gone and got this, and let Hollow have this one for free. So Janto should back off here, Forsaker should be backing off here, Team Supreme collapse onto this one, pick up a black buff, you get a 1-for-1 black buff trade. The black buff's on the Grux anyway, and the other black buff would be on your caster, which is better, because at this stage the caster, in theory, should have more power. Of course, the Grux built more power, so he'll do just as much damage with the black buff, but it's on a melee, which is a huge deficit in itself. So you're going to see Hollow actually runs away here. This is actually kind of a mistake. What you could have done is maybe just, well, probably bait them into here is correct, because you've got 3 people collapsing. It's very weird that they do collapse like this. But Fearless can now pick up a black buff, so if you bait them into this low area and have Fearless roam over, you should be able to have an advantage overall. Of course, Emperor is roaming over, so this is where you back off properly. Do get stunned, this is a good landmine, and it should be easy just to walk out here. But look how they're grouping up here. So Forsaker goes for a Tether and he misses. They've just lost Tether. They've got no Narbash stun, right? So that's both their CCs down. They have no hard CC here, and you're a black buff Grux with a Howie. I mean, he's got no mana because he's used landmine, but he's still got auto attacks, right? He can still come in here. You've also got a black buff what's it called, Wacko roaming over here because he's going to pick it up, and you've got a Rampage coming. So you're going to have a lot of CC come into this, and they're going to arrive as the opposing CC comes up. So you basically want to delay them at this point by going forward. So you shouldn't back off here. What you should do instead is go back into the pit and just bait them in a little bit, right? See if they'll go for you. If they back off anyway, fine, you don't lose anything. But if they go in, then you're going to have a big collapse on them where you're 5v4 because your RGS Ace is going to come over as well as Feng, and you're also going to have the black buff advantage basically, as well as a cooldown advantage on the CC. But everyone just disengages, which is fine as well. Then you catch Emperor out of position, so Emperor takes very poor pathing to lane here. He knows that the Grux was just there, Grux backed off that way. Grux is most likely, if anything, going to come around this way if he's going to go anywhere, if not farm his offlane camps, but it's highly possible he comes this way. Their Feng Mao went back to base, so he's going to be coming back from base, which means he's on this side of the map. You also saw a couple other people on, roaming over, so running this way was very greedy. Should have simply ran through the lane around the back and played it very safe, but there's a very buffed up Grux here, black buff. They're simply going to destroy him. Hollow does waste his ult a little bit there, very unnecessary to use it. Emperor's not level 5, he doesn't need to cancel ult or anything, so a bit of a waste on the Grux ult, but it guarantees the kill nonetheless. Then Forsaker and Janto try to rectify this. Of course they can't get anything off of it. The Howie ult does get burnt unnecessarily, but then everyone disengages. So it's basically just a kill onto Emperor there, because of his misposition. So there's 3 misplays for Emperor so far, and all 3 have gotten killed basically. So he needs to play more safe basically, being way too aggressive. Protagonist meanwhile does get a tower off of this though, which is very good for himself. Thank you for the follow, Applekin. Whew. I don't know it full picks. I could go find it, but I don't know it off by heart. So you can see Fearless comes here just to soak up the XP while no one's here, and of course Wacko's going to roam over and come pick up the farm. Greystone's actually taking the tower, which is really good. He did the split pushing job, he did what he had to do there. That was very well played by him. But nonetheless, Emperor shouldn't have died there, and they could have basically got the same result off of it. Okay. So if we look at builds, I'm going to pause a while I could build so I don't miss anything. Fearless has got wards and tons of consumables. He should probably be building towards quenching here. He better sell a bunch of this stuff and buy quenching soon, because this is, you know, maybe a bit too much. He needs a little bit more points to get the quenching, so this is fine at the moment, but he will need to sell a bunch of it and buy the quenching, because it's very important to have that card up ASAP on your support, especially on one like Rampage who doesn't have access to Honor the Pure. We also have RGS Ace. He's got a 1/1 Madstone. He had a token health potion, that's perfectly fine. Wacko's build, perfectly fine. Bram, I wouldn't go for the burst engines, go for meltdowns. 0.3 mana regen in relevance to 2 ability pen is pointless. It's very rare that 0.3 mana regen is actually going to give you another ability. Even 2 burst engines won't give you enough for an ability quick enough that it's relevant, whereas your meltdowns, the 4 ability pen for example of the combined 2, or as you scale up into 4 1/1 meltdowns where you have 8 ability pen, is going to give you so much more damage, especially on top of your base damage, that it's going to be much more valuable. So run meltdowns instead of burst engines would be beneficial. Hollow, 8.5 minutes, no wards. This is a huge mistake. It doesn't matter if you're 4-1 in this far ahead. Don't start building a second Madstone. Build those wards already. Very important. High governing. Janto then goes for it. He's still got his 2 cards there, so that hasn't really changed. Emperor's got a 1/1 rust, so that's fine. Rest of it is pretty much the same, but they do need to get more card points basically before we can start to see what unravels here. So river buffs are coming up soon. Now this is where raptors need to be warded, so Forsaker does a good job here warding the raps at about, you know, minute 20 before. That's good enough. So if you look here, stealth wards, you know, they last a couple minutes, well, a few minutes, and they recharge every couple minutes or whatever. So this is going to last 3 minutes, which means it's going to be there for an extra minute and a half as the thing spawns, so they wouldn't be able to cheese it basically, especially if the Grux. You can see they're going to the secure the river, and as you see this here, so Forsaker sees off of this ward, right, that Hollow's here. He also sees up here that Fearless is here, right? So he sees these 2 here. He sees the mid laner is here. So what's happening to this river buff here is completely uncontested. So Janto needs to go for this here. And that means Emperor needs to play safe. The issue is, Janto stays with Emperor. So this river buff you've just given for free to Bram, basically, and Hollow gets one as well. So you give them 2 free river buffs, and even worse, Forsaker's stuck around to actually, you know, try and take it or something. Then ends up taking lots of damage. Bram overextends a little bit, but luckily has his ult just to disengage. He should have placed this ult here, basically, instead of here. There was nothing it was going to do here, but if he places the ult here, he's able to pretty much clear up the minion wave that's going to walk into the final tick of the ult guaranteed, and he also cuts off the Greystone, cutting off his escape, basically, yeah? So that would have been a little more efficient of an ult to place it here over there, but it was a bit of a panic to get out of a bad situation. So they burn the Howie ult, but then Forsaker has to go back. Nothing too significant off of this. Yeah. My nose is terrible today. Very sorry, guys. Still a bit ill from yesterday. All Gucci though. Okay. So Quang goes back and this is just no, right. You're a frontliner as a jungler, right, Swecker? You're a frontliner, yeah. You build tanky. You don't build tanky as Quang this early, right? You don't build tanky as any jungler this early. You always build a damage item early. In early game ganks, it's going to be the damage that gets you a kill. There's no reason to build tank. This is going to do nothing on a Quang. If you go under a tower, your right click and healing can tank it. You don't need a tempered plate. This tempered plate is going to be ever so useless, and you're going to end up doing no damage, which means they're just going to slowly kill you, and you're not going to do anything back. So this tempered plate is really not very good. This should be an adamant edge of 1-on-1 power, basically. You need damage early on Quang, especially. Quang, I build a 6-cost damage adamant, I build a 7-cost damage adamant, a 6-cost damage Guardian Scythe, and a 6-cost damage Sage's Ward, into them probably a Thick Blood with damage. You build a lot of power early on Quang. He's more of an assassin early. He needs the damage for the ganks. He needs to be more of a threat. His right click makes him very tanky, so don't build this tempered plate, okay? It's going to change up the way you play, but it's going to be much more beneficial to your Quang jungle. The reason he's strong early is because he has a lot of damage pressure early. That's why he's better than the Sev. If you build him like this, he's going to be weaker than the Sev early. So that's for you, Swecker. You know, you need to definitely change the build up a little bit, because that's not going to benefit you at all. So that's the first huge mistake I've seen in the builds, basically. Apart from Hollow not buying wards in its 10 minutes, which is very sad, because Raptors are spawning and you don't have ward control as a jungler, which is not good. Alright, you got 2 wards here. You need to get a ward deep into this pit now. Fearless actually starts them without vision control. So they're doing this on a ward, basically. And it's 10 minutes. You should expect the Raps to spawn, because it's 10 minute spawn. And you should expect them, as with a Grux Rampage, to go straight onto it, you know? And then Janto isn't here, Swecker isn't here, Emperor isn't here, Team Supreme isn't here, and your Greystone split pushing. So you have 4 people that could be collapsing on these 4 in the Raptor Pit that are way too late, because they've got Grux Sparrow who's going to take the objective in seconds, and now they simply walk out. So you just weren't here in time. Bad back timings, bad rotation timings, and you just give it to them for free. So there you go. We are so silver, don't need wards, we have map awareness, sure, wacko, that's how it works. But you guys are very lucky, because, in my opinion, so against a good team, if you did that, you 4 probably would have all died in that pit, basically. Going for that kind of Raptor play, when you have no vision control, and you don't even know if they have vision on it. Those 4 could have collapsed and actually gone on you and killed you. It was their mistake not to, when they had vision control. So they even pre-set up properly for the Raps, they just weren't there, which makes no sense. So they set up all this vision control to basically accomplish nothing. If you guys had heavily warded this side of the map, basically, for ganks and stuff on this side, and they heavily warded this, and then you just go and get the Raptors for free, then leave, they waste all this vision, and you get vision superiority over the other side of the map. So, you know, just a note, you need to place your wards in a place and then act on them. You don't just place the wards because you place the wards, you know? Well, yeah, fellas, you probably saw the 3 people in lane, like, you probably saw them all completely all over the place, but, you know, realistically, as soon as you go onto that, they'll collapse and kill you. You should get into the habit of knowing to pre-set up your vision control, yeah? So try not to go for these if you get vision. So if we look at it, like, realistically, I do agree, right, you can do them, yeah? So if we go to when you're just literally about to first start them, you can see these 2 over here, which is a mistake from them. You can see Team Supreme's not even in lane, and he went back. You know Swecker went back, and could probably be there soon, but he's doing greenside jungle for whatever reason when Raps is spawning, and you can see this guy here. So realistically, yes, you can go start this now. But you should get into the habit of at least trying to pre-ward, right? So scrims are for practice, right? I'm not going to, like, you know, blatantly say it's, like, stupid or anything, because it is the right thing to do, yeah? It's right to go for these Raptors in this case. And if you saw this in a tournament, you should go for it. How we take scrims at the moment is that, you know, we need to still look at what we're going to do in the most optimal scenarios, right? So you're going to place wards here, you're going to place wards here, you're going to place wards over here, right? You're going to be placing wards all over the place before they spawn. You should get into the habit of doing this now, even up against a team that isn't going to capitalize on their own vision control, so that you, in future, are then going to have this pre-vision control, and even if you don't see them in these places, as long as you have the vision control, you know you could take it in the same scenario. So that's how you could go for it. That's just my advice on what you could do with it, rather than just cheese it, because if we ever go against a team like Juke City ourselves, who are still not quite established and comfortable with their roster yet, we don't like to do things like this, because we know we'd never get to do this in a proper game, so we wouldn't really benefit from it. You know, we're just going to end up getting it, snowballing, we're going to win the game too quickly, we're not going to learn anything out of it, which is going to ruin our purpose for the scrims. So we try and at least get our vision control established before the objective so that we just know that we've at least got that down. We try and get the timings of it down. If we don't, then that's our mistake, and that's what we need to work on. As per is the, you know, idea of a scrim. So we'll just go forward again. Those raptors die in like 10 seconds, because raptors die way too quickly when it comes to Sparrow and Grux. You have a very good objective taking comp though. So if you guys did see that they go into lanes, like, you know, Reborn, if you're against them and you see them go into lanes like that, you can take those super quick. You literally take them in 10 seconds. And you now know that, so you did learn that. You've learned that Sparrow Grux, you can take the objective in 10 seconds if they leave you alone. That's why this game is a lot more faster paced than people seem to think it is. You know, you have to be very quick on reacting to these things. Do you play solo queue like this too? You should play solo queue like this. But no one knows how to play the game at this sort of, you know, 5-man competitive level. You don't need communication to pull off these sort of things. You just need to spam pings in certain areas and know what you should be doing in your role. This was good by Ferris to pick up a Rock Kid to deter the Quang. Gets an easy black buff. Hollow should take it in this manner because he needs the mana as Grux, you know, mana. Very, very important on Grux, so it is right for him to take it there. But then you can actually see Hollow moves back this way. Meanwhile, Brown's being collapsed on. So you see that there's two people in mid, and Forsaker was like in their green side jungle, so the only realistic place he can come is mid, right, because he can't go over there. So Hollow should have instantly fought as he's getting this buff, right. Forsaker's probably going to go towards mid or farm his green side and be close to mid, and there's two people in mid which we can then gank, which might go aggressive onto Bram and Ferris. So he could have come from this way, and if he comes from this way, look what Team Supreme's here. Look, he's right on the edge here. If you charge forward, he has to now run down into this area to escape, and then you put pressure on their Narbash here, which then can be stunned by the Rampage. If he falls down here and Rampage angles himself this way, he can now throw a rock down here and pick off that guy. So you basically can get one of these picks for free. Heck, even Forsaker, if he comes forward to do that tether, you can grab him off the top there. So just a bit more better positioning from Hollow there. Could have maybe led to a kill. Instead he backed off, you know, after the buff and went round the safe way, which then leads to nothing happening. Which is fine too, but you could potentially get a kill off of that just by being a bit more aggressive after the river buff. Swaker's trying to stay too long here. He should just go back. He's got no mana. So this is a mistake from him. He should just literally go straight back. He has no mana. He's not going to do anything if he sticks around anyway. Hollow, way too late on this invade with the black buff. He had the black, like, what, 40 seconds ago, so it's just running out. If he got this, and then with the Sparrow, well, maybe Sparrow go to the side lane, but if him, Bram, and Ferris all insta-invade here, if you look at the Amber Link, you get a little bit, right? It's not much because he hasn't farmed much, but you don't know that. He could have farmed a lot of jungle here, right? This camp could have been completely down, their offlane camps could have been completely down, and this could be at least a half-filled Amber Link, which you'd want to invade before 12 minutes, right, with that black buff. So you could have come straight around here, you could have swept up this camp, Ferris can empty the Amber Link, you sweep up this camp, and then you leave, right? Heck, their green's up. You could take their green too. You get a green, a 4-stack, a 5-stack, and basically what could have been up to a half Amber Link, but it would just be a little bit of Amber Link, but it's still madness basically. Instead, I think you come in here, you take a 5-stack, and then I think that's it and you leave. Because at this point they're already collapsing with everyone. So Fearless backs off here and then you end up backing off. So just due to hesitation basically, or just, you know, just a little bit of game knowledge, just when you get a black buff, you've already got a lead and you've got more people in the general area because you saw the other two were still roaming over from the other side. You should just insta-invade their jungle. You also know that Quang's got no mana. You saw him with no mana when he went into mid lane, so you've also got that information. You also got the information that they tried to do something in mid and Team Supreme would have, you know, backed off this direction basically, which means he's on the other side of the lane. So you could have instantly gone in here, Fellas could have instantly gone up here, Bram could have assisted, and you could have swept up these 3 camps and taken the Amber Link. Plus you also forced them into a jungle fight, which your comp is going to be at this stage better than, due to the big Howie ult. You've got the Rampage who fights better in the jungle, you can also engage better, and such like that. So, you know, you got the Grux who's very good at charging and grabbing in the tight spaces. If Fang Mel comes in, he can easily get flanks off in there. Greystone's very poor in the jungle at this stage. He's not very scaled, so he won't do any damage to the carry. So, overall, yeah, there you go. But yeah, we'll just move it on a bit. Whew. As you can see, Juke City collapse, and at this point they're too late, and they're just going to help Swecker farm, and he still hasn't gone back, basically. When he probably could have filled his temper plate, he had a point. So he could have completed a card and got his mana back, and then come back into the jungle and do his white camps, then green. But now Emperor's wasting a lot of time, and overall Juke City are, you know, wasting a bit of time here. I am just going to take a drink quickly. better? Okay, just keep my voice going, basically. Seeing as I'm talking a hell of a lot over this. Apologies for that. Right. So Juke City invade off of this, and they take a couple white camps. This is very good from them, and they empty the ambulance. This was really good response. They basically grouped all their people up, and they have to do something off of it. They can also see now that the green's coming up soon, so they should group up and be ready to contest this, right? So these three are going to back off here, but they could have probably invaded the screen, right? They had 4v4, they had the advantage in numbers, basically, in terms of the initial collapse, and they also had river buffs coming up, so they could back off, get river buffs here, and maybe go for the invade again. They can also put the wave pressure mid, so they could 4-man mid, push it in, and then go for the invade on the green, but they basically know this green is up, and it hasn't been taken yet. Now it's going to be taken, but it's too late at this point, right? But they could have got both river buffs, and then come straight back, and straight away pressured this green. But, you know, it's just a little bit of safe play. They are a little bit behind, so I guess they're trying not to take too many risks. But when you are behind, that's when you should be taking the risk to try and get back into the game. The further behind you get, the more risks you have to take. As simple as that. As long as you're on an equal footing. If the other team's slightly worse than you and you know it, then of course you can still play consistently and you'll probably get ahead. So Fearless and Hollow do a good thing here. Now, what happens here is, I heard the communication from this. Basically, Fearless says, yeah, I've got ult, we can dive. Then Hollow goes first. Rampage should definitely go first here. He should be ulting as they walk through the fog wall. He should jump in first and get a stun off, and Hollow should follow up then with the green buff here. Because you don't want the green buff guy to tank it like this, because it's quite unnecessary. Like, yes, he's going to take the 2 shots, but look how much more damage he's going to take here, right? It's a great follow-up. It's great play. They do get both kills. Look how much extra damage he takes when you had an ulted Rampage that literally took 0 damage. So you could have preserved all that HP and then just had Rampage tank it instead. Just a bit of a misplay in terms of like who's going in first there, but Fella should have definitely jumped in first there. Because you can pop that green buff anyway, that's going to pop from AoE and damage anyway, regardless of the tower. That Rampage didn't, yeah, I should have tanked it first for sure, and Grix didn't need to tank that, because now, of course, you got to do Raptors, and Hollow's a little bit lower, and it makes it a bit more risky, even though 2 are dead, but Quang could easily come in here and blow him up or something, but then, you know, Quang's taking the wrong path, he's defending mid, whatever. But just a little bit, I think, because Hollow could stick around here, he'd basically be full HP. He could probably go farm a white camp, take a river buff, stick around longer, and Fearless would still be full HP in this lane anyway. So, it's just wasting resources, basically, which is HP. Not too big of a biggie, because Hollow's going back anyway, but, you know, it's just a thing to take into account. It can be quite huge in certain situations. You should always have your Rampage tank in the tower. So Ace is in the 1v1 against the Greystone. Greystone, in general, wins this unless the Feng gets really far ahead, but at this stage, Feng, he's got a decent card point lead. He should probably be winning this 1v1. With this, Ace should be a little bit more aggressive. He should try and get wave pressure, so as long as these two are equal, Feng should try and kill the minions here first, try and get the minion wave killed, but what Protagonist does is good here. He kills the minion wave first and then goes for the trades, so he's got the minion advantage here, which makes it harder for Ace. I don't know what that hamstring was, but yeah, basically, try and fight the minions with him in them. If he goes for you, just use your shield and keep killing the wave aces and the Feng. And then as soon as the wave is like, you know, lower, his side's lower and you've killed the ranged minion, then start fighting him. Just fight him in your wave when it's bigger and he has to back off. It's all about wave pressure in the 1v1. So you can see what he's doing here. He's killing the wave just as fast as you, if not faster. And that's what he's trying to do here. You do get Hollow over, which is really good. And we'll see what happens here. So Protagonist runs away, he's Greystone, he jumps away. Pretty standard play. If, you know, Hollow wasn't as rusty, you could probably alt-cancel that, basically. So, not gonna bash Whacker that easily, you know, come on. So Team Supreme goes onto Bram here, Swacker's trying to follow up. This Tether is extremely drawn out, you know, try and flick it a little bit, don't just, you know, hold it out all the time. Hollow's being a bit overly aggressive here. You can see 4 people here, Hollow, like, yeah, you know, Fearless is jumping in, but that was extremely risky. You do get out of the jump. If they were a little more coordinated, they probably could have killed you there if they collapsed quicker. You did just run into 4 people, and I think Whacker might die for this as well. So yeah, Juke City actually get quite a lot off of this. So that was very, very risky by Hollow, just way too far up onto 4 people, quite unnecessarily. So we'll go back and watch that a little slower, just so we can break it down a little bit. So you can see him going towards Swacker here. Swacker's a bit far, but you can see they've got 4 people here, right? You're going to see Jan to come round. You see the Emperor's roaming over. You've already got 2 people here. Fearless is on his way. But this is really risky. So he goes for the grab on Team Supreme. He shouldn't ult here. He should be diving away here. Fearless shouldn't ult in here. It's extremely risky. They've already got 3 on 1 here, basically. Bram's pretty low on mana at this stage. Wacko isn't here yet. Ace isn't roaming over. Protagonist is roaming over. This is just a huge negative thing for Ignite, basically. Fellas jumps in. Hollow just gets out of his life. Just like 0.3 seconds difference, basically. Bram does kill Gadget, which is cool. You know, he gets something off of it because Gadget goes too far forward. But then the carry is going to die, which isn't worth it. I don't think Bram dies here, right? No, Protagonist probably could have got that. He didn't have his leap, it seems. Let's see. He has his leap. I don't know why he doesn't kill the Howie here. He could have leapt and auto-attacked him and killed him. And they would have got 2. That's a mistake by Protagonist. I don't know why he didn't finish off the Howie there. But, yeah, basically a mistake from Ignite to stick around like that for some reason. But yeah, Wacko got baited in, basically, by his own team there and died. So it wasn't really Wacko's fault. I mean, he took a bad angle. And then he could have hopped down here instead of going down here. So he misplayed a little bit, but overall, you know, it was Hollow's fault being so deep initially, and then his team trying to follow up on something that was a mistake. And they lose mid T1 off of it. So this is a bit of Juke City coming back. Mainly due to Ignite making a mistake, but they're still miles ahead, and they're still in control of this game. Bram's picked up a Meltdown now, which is good, but again, swap that Burst Enya for a Meltdown, just get more damage. Emperor overstays here, so we'll just go back and quickly look at that again. His team move off here, they say they're rotating away. Emperor tries to rotate there, he has to go back to the Gurk's grab, and now he's not with them. So it's very risky to rotate aggressively into the opposing jungle like this, and your carry was late to do it, basically. It was really bad pathing, basically, and dies. So you just lost your carry for no reason, and now they can get stuff off of this. They can do Prime, they can do whatever they want. So this was a huge mistake, basically. Ugh, my sinuses are so awful today. Right, so 4 people here, just backing off, you know, not much really going on. All fine. All Gucci. So at this stage, Juke City need to just ward Prime and play safe, ward Raptors when they're spawning, play safe. There's not much they can really do because they keep getting that carry qual. Well, he's died 4 times? Yeah, not 4. 4 mistakes, basically, from the carry that's killed him 4 times. Not ideal. And that's what's mainly losing them this game at the moment, along with a little miscoordination and such. Is the mistakes from their duo lane. So Hollow's going to invade here, a little greedy, and then he backs off. But right there, so I just want to show you what he sees here. So as Hollow here, you're walking into the jungle with your own green buff, right? You got a green buff here, you're basically full HP, you're wandering along, la 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 la, and you see a Quang doing his green. Right now, your first instinct, as a Grux with a lead, with mid lane pushed in, and their other 2 members have gone back, your instinct here should be charge forward and grab instantly. Just charge, grab instantly. If you charge here and grab, you steal the screen, you hurt Forsaker a lot, and then you can just simply back off. It's not even that risky of a play, because if you charge here and grab, and he still gets the green, you can still get out here, like plenty fine. You could just have Bram rotate over. You can just simply call Bram, he can instantly walk over, landmine anyone away from you, even if they rotate from mid, which would be late anyway, because of the huge wave, and they'd lose loads of tier 2 damage. So, you know, this could have been a green steal, basically. Look how many autos it takes him to do. By the time he's actually finishing it, which is now, you're here. In this time, you could have been here, and have already finished your grab, basically. So it's just a mistake from Hollow. Could have just been a bit more aggressive there, steal the green away. He could have probably procced his own green this time, so as he grabs, Forsaker's probably going to panic and right-click, pop his green, then he gets the new green, which refreshes the green, which means he gets a new shield, another proc of damage, and that makes Forsaker very low HP as well. The charge has plenty of range. Like, if we go back again, I'll show you it. Right. So he stops there. Well, let's say here. Just about. Just there. And I don't know if you can see the drawing on stream, but I'm going to do a drawing, actually. Let's do it like this. Or let's get the camera angle right. Yeah, this is probably better. So I don't know if you can see this on stream. If you can, awesome. If you can't, then I'm a moron. But basically, charge range would be about here, right? That's about charge range. And then you can easily have walked, you know, that distance. Or if we do it like this, you could have maybe walked a little bit further forward quickly, charged here, grabbed here, like that, you see? And that could have happened pretty easily, basically. So I don't know if you can see that drawing on stream. If not, then sorry, but if you can, then awesome. No, you can't see it. Okay, fair enough. I figured you couldn't, but you can see it in screen share, so I just wondered if you could see it on stream. But basically the charge range is here to about here, and you can grab to here, but you could have walked that little extra distance as well, basically, you know? So you would be close enough, basically, after the charge grab to do it, which is fine. He backs off here. Yes, guys, I'm a moron. I just wanted to see if it worked on stream. I know it works on screen share, so. It could be probable that it works on stream. So Hollow just backs off here, all fine. Bit too safe play in my opinion, but, you know, green's come out. Because, I mean, if you take that green there as well, you also have the Raptor advantage in the fight, right? Because you have a green buff and they don't. So Wacko goes forward here and pokes Janto. This is very risky here, going forward here. So he does have Fearless backing him up. He does see Protagonist in lane. But if Emperor is a little bit here, you could have taken a lot of poke damage. If they land a Funk here into a Revenant combo, that could be 2/3 of Wacko's HP, basically. So a little risky to go that far forward, but nonetheless, it's okay. I think Hollow goes in mid here. Let me just get... Oh my god, I'm stuck in the floor. There we go. In the wall, rather. So we'll just see how this situation arises. So a landmine onto Forsaker to knock him back. He's got green and Hollow doesn't. Team Supreme's completely out of position here, standing here when the enemy team is there and here. Like, very, very, very bad mispositioning. So Hollow does capitalize on this. He charges forward initially. He should ult there. He should ult instantly for Fearless to land the guaranteed rock into a guaranteed grab. Instead, he chains the ult, like, he stacks the ult CC on top of the rock CC, which wastes it, basically. And it's a little late, so he's going to take a lot of damage from that, basically. A good quenching by Fearless, though, and a good rock, nonetheless. And they do get out of that. Wacko, in the meantime, gets completely collapsed on and dies, and this is the issue with the Rampage at the moment, right? So, this is a bit of a mistake from Fearless, because he goes in with Hollow and leaves his carry to die. Your number one priority as a support is to keep Wacko alive over anything. Over engage and everything, right? So you used your quenching on a frontliner that probably would have lived anyway. In a gadget ult, when you could have been using your stun and your quenching to then follow up on these. Hollow by himself probably could have ulti grabbed and killed that gadget, along with your simple damage, and then you could rock someone like the Narbash or Quang or something going onto your carry. In the meantime, Ace was split pushing, so we'll see how this all arises. We can go over it several times. So Wacko at this point should already be coming towards mid, because Hollow should be calling he wants to engage mid, so Wacko should already be coming, and Fearless should be going forward. Now right here, this is where Fearless should either rock Team Supreme and stay back with Wacko, or not use his rock at all, and let Hollow do it. As you can see, the two come around here. Bram lands a good rocket, but Wacko's like going to get stunned now, and he's just going to get collapsed on by everyone, yeah? Because everyone's just looking at him. And Bram wasn't able to help there. I think Bram must have had landmine there, right? I think he did. Did he not? Let's go back. He landmined there. He might not have it up in time. No, he won't. So his landmine's not up, so he Qs here. He could ult here. This would actually be a really good zoning ult right there. But yeah, bit of a mistake. Meanwhile, Ace is split pushing, but he's not pushing hard enough, basically. He hasn't pushed hard enough initially, so he needed to be pushing earlier, and he's going to be a bit late on this split push now, which is a bit of a shame. And this is where Juke City could get a lot of it, but then they focus Rampage and Narbash dies. They should be focusing Grux here. And then he charges away. Now they should be able to pick up Bram if Emperor can get in range. But now this is where they chase. He does die here, I think. Yeah. So again, a misplay by Ignite, misplay in the team fight. Support needs to keep Wacko alive. I know it's a Rampage and you feel like you should engage with it, but if you're going to do that, then you can't be on a Sparrow, right? So this is where I was saying, like, you probably want to run Sev because you get more peel out of it in your comp, and it's a better late game scaling comp. But you need to run a support that can either use auto and quenching, or if you're running the Rampage, you at least need to ult and then sit on top of the Sparrow's face and rock anyone that comes close and quenching for her, because she's going to die very quick. It's all about keeping that Sparrow alive. She could have basically wiped that fight by herself as they all grouped up and chased onto her if Fearless was peeling for her instead of engaging with Hollow. It's not your job to dive with Hollow, it's Ace's job to dive with Hollow, basically. So if you're going for a fight, you should either all be peeling for Wacko and then killing them in the 4v5, or peeling for Wacko and backing off and stuff while Ace split pushes, or Ace should be roaming over and flanking, diving on backline with Hollow while the Howie and the Rampage peel for the Sparrow. and zone. So yeah. Don't yell at Panic, guys. He's just being a troll. And now Juke City will get wraps off of this. Well, doesn't get that. At least I don't think he did. No. You didn't get that right first. There's no way you got that. Yeah, exactly, sir. So Ace just needs to communicate what he's doing, the team needs to communicate what they're doing so they can make optimal decisions, basically. He did steal it. Okay, fair enough, that's fair enough then. Good rock then. Well done. It was fine to do that. I wasn't saying it was a bad thing to do. I was just saying I don't think you got it. I wasn't sure. Fair enough. That's quite good then. You get 1 rep and they only get 2. Not too bad. Instead of 3 reps, but still overall, the whole fight was a bit of a mess. Peeling. Basically what peeling means, guys, is protecting. Yeah? It's getting enemies off. You peel the enemies off. So imagine they're the middle of a banana and the enemies are the skin sticking to them, basically. You want to peel them off of it, get them away from your banana, because your banana's, you know, important to you. You need to protect your banana, because he's going to win you the game. So, Wacko's the banana in this case, and all the enemies are the skin. And these 4, well, in most cases it's probably going to be the Howie and the Rampage, if not the Grux as well, are going to be the guys who are peeling the banana to keep the banana safe. That's what you have to do. So that's my little analogy there. But that's what peeling is. You keep the enemies away from your precious banana. Okay. I do like bananas. So Wacko is a banana, and Emperor is a banana. Nice thing about Emperor is he's a very special banana. Him as a banana can take it so that only 1 human can peel him, but he's a very powerful banana, so he can usually kill the skin by himself and peel himself. That's the effect of his ult, because it's so broken. But yeah, you need to peel for your carry, basically. You need to keep them protected. No, the skin does not keep the banana safe. The skin kills the banana. it's rotting skin. So, I just want to look at this, right? So this is a huge mistake from Juke City. So Protagonist goes in with his ult here, which is okay. This is fine to go in here, right? He should stick to Wacko here. Instead, he goes back to the front line. And now look at what happens here. So, you know, it's a 4v4 fight, and Fearless isn't in it yet. He can jump in. But Swecker's low mana, so they shouldn't be taking this fight anyway, right? Protagonist should back off the second Swecker's low mana, because it makes no sense to fight here. But look what happens. I want you guys to tell me what's wrong here. So what is wrong here? What's gone wrong for Juke City? It's a huge play by Ignite, but what is the huge mistake that happened here? Just someone tell me while I have a drink. Yeah, exactly, Ace. So, number 1, I have to say, Bram's ult is amazing here. This is the perfect Howie ult. Huge props to the guy. This ult is amazing. But Protagonist is 100% correct there. They ran forward, just randomly, and Emperor's left alone, with a Grux, who's ahead. Emperor is going to be completely fucked. Second mistake, 2 of them walk through an entire Howie ult. Look at Janto's HP, right? I just want to look at this, right? Look at Janto's HP for this. So he runs forward, he's full HP, gets his funk off and stuff, you know, goes forward, charges forward there. Then look what this Howie ult does. Look, he's full HP, walks for the entire Howie ult. And now look at his HP. He walked through the entire Howie ult. There's better pathing here. You don't have to run through the whole thing. You can run through the side here, you can run through the side here. You ran straight through the middle. Look how much damage he just did. And they're panicking because they're trying to peel. So the second mistake is, first they're not peeling, then they're trying too hard to run through the Howie ult to peel. You know? Emperor should have either ran forward with them, and they focus the target down, and then go forward from the Howie ult where Grux charges back. So if you look at this, so this could be Emperor's misplay as well. It depends how they wanted to play, but they wanted to fight. So this is actually Emperor's misplay. So these 2 run forward. Emperor's... Look at that hesitation. Do you see that? We'll go back a bit. Look at this movement. Don't need to go slower. Hollow's here, they go forward. Look at Emperor's movement here. So they all run forward. And then look at Emperor. He stops, moves back, then moves forward. Then what's he going to do? He's going to move back again. And he moves back with the Grux. Why not? As the Grux charges here. So that we'll go even slower. Actually, we'll speed it up till we get to the point. Right. We'll go 0.25. Look at this. Then he does that first hesitation, which makes no sense. There's no one behind him. There's no one there. And he goes forward. And then look, as this Grux charges, right here, as soon as you see this as a carry, move forward. Go forward with your team. Your team are already forward. Go forward with them. Go ult a target and solo them out. Ult this Howie and kill them. The Howie's used everything, right? He's got nothing up after this ult, right? Or ult Wacko and keep going on to him. Then you don't take any Howie ult damage, yeah? Instead, he walks backwards with the Grux. He could be here right now, right? Walking past the middle of the Howie ult when Grux is here, basically, yeah? He's giving us advice and saying where players are wrong. You're just a bit. What's going on here? Wait, who sees this as toxic? I'm gonna have to look at this. Calling someone stupid and play. I'm just trying to tell them how to improve, guys. You know, they're never gonna learn if they don't see this kind of stuff, right? So, Emperor is still running back. He could be focusing Grux right now. Like, if these guys were back already, they could have focused Grux down and killed him here. So you had two options here. Either have these three come back, kill the front line, or all four of you go forward and you kill something on the front. Instead, you completely split up, and then you don't focus anything down, and then you all take, like, a whole Howie ult, and then Protagonist has to jump out. Janto's going to basically die here, so we haven't watched past this point, but you're going to see here what happens. So Janto has to go forward with the ult. He's dead anyway. He dies. Swek is extremely low, and now there's going to be the chase. There you go, and then Emperor dies, so they lose their carry, and Ignite pretty much clean this up. So it's just a huge mistake there from Juke City, basically splitting up their team. That's all they did. They just completely split up the fight. And props to Ignite, like huge Howie ult and everything, but it's just showing in Juke City how they could have played this fight completely better, basically. Hey, Shinx. How you doing? Less arguments in chat, guys. And then off of this, basically, Ignite get a free prime. Because everyone had to go back from Juke City, you know, and it's all gone terribly wrong at this point. I'm just trying to give constructive criticism. Yeah, and then of course Ace was split pushing, getting the tier 2 the whole time. You're completely correct, Ace. Basically, Ignite played this perfectly. They had the split pushing Fang, they fought the fight perfectly, great Howie ult, great Prime off of it. All perfectly played by Ignite, basically, in that on a macro scale. Little bit of micro difference, but Hollow's misplay was charging forward there. It was Juke City's misplay to not capitalize on that misplay, basically, and they actually completely botched it, basically. So, you know, bit of a mistake. Yes, he did, Shinx. This is Team Ignite. This is Juke City on the right, so on the left Ignite, on the right Juke City. Now, just talking about lane allocation, so this is Hollow's job as a shot caller, because he's trying to shot call, right? Oh, thank you, Kaphos. Basically, as soon as you've got Prime and you've recalled at base, so we'll go back a bit while you're all at base. You've all recalled with Prime, this is fine. You can do that still, apart from Ace, of course. Ace is already in mid. You've got every wave pushing him. Think about where they're allocating their lanes to, right? And what heroes you've got when you get Prime. So this is a huge part of using Prime, right? Is where you allocate your lanes as soon as you get it with your comp. This is what you want to do, right? So basically, you've got a great 4-1. You don't want to 1-3-1 this. You've got only one good split pusher, which is Feng. So you want to 4-1 it, which means how you run a 4-1 is you send the Feng Mao, this guy, to one lane, which you want him to push, and you send the 4 to one lane and then to another. You send them to the one that's going to get pushed out first so that they can de-push it first and then move to the next one, right? That's the realistic thing. So what Hollow should say here is, Ace, straight away, you laddie need to stay back a little bit, right? Just stay back. Don't need to go forward yet. We're not out of base yet, so you just play safe. You literally have to sit there, you know, going fap in the corner, so it would say. Not do anything for, like, you know, 20 seconds or so before he starts pushing. But he needs to basically prep himself on the left lane here, basically, right? Because he's already moved over here. Or, in fact, no, actually, wait, which lane? Yeah, that's their left, right? Yeah, because the tier 2's still up. So basically, Feng Mao can take this tier 2 by himself in the 1v1 situation, right? This mid tier 2 is not down, which means this is your main point of focus. Also, their carry is actually heading towards mid lane here. So what you want to do here is see where Emperor goes as you come out of base, right? So you should all run towards the green side jungle, not to right lane. So Holo should say everyone through the green side jungle, 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 and right here you see Emperor appear right? So Wacko's mispositioned here. He should be in the green side, right? So Ace shouldn't be there either. Ace should not be here. Ace should have been on left lane now, right? Waiting around here. He should just be sitting here going fat right in the corner, right? Just stand here. And then he'll come and push this up, right, against Protagonist, and he's going to win this 1v1, he's going to get a tier 2 and stuff while the rest happens. So that'll be Ace's job, right, on the split push. He's a split pusher as Feng Mao. You don't want to group as 5. Meanwhile, everyone would be here by the Amber Link at this stage, as you see Emperor right. This means this is going to push extremely hard because the carry's pushing it, and also there's no tier 2 to take here, so it's the longer lane, so you're going to get a longer, basically, like, you know, bigger wave build up, basically, right? You got a longer lane to push, which means the minion wave's going to build up bigger, which means you're going to get a bigger wave hitting this inhib by the time you guys get over there, right? So you basically want this lane to be pushed first, right? Because he's going to push this out. So Wacko's fine to be here now, which is okay, but he should have been here, right, in case this was mid lane instead. So basically what should happen here is all 4 of these guys go right lane, Ace should be on left lane, the 4 people will push up this lane initially and get a slow push going, then go straight to mid lane and push this out. Heck, you could probably keep Bram here to initially push this out, just to build a slightly faster push, so Bram could be going mid here, you could have 3 people go right lane and slow push out this, and then you can all rotate to mid, and then you can push down this tier 2, RGS Ace can push down this T2. Now you've got 4 here, 1 here, 2 waves pushing in at once, pressuring inhibs where you can take these, and then if either of these waves fail at any point, you can always have Ace curve around here and flank around the back if he's got the wave under the inhib, and flank the mid lane. You can have the 4 rotate to Ace's lane and go push this inhib, or you can have the 4 go rotate from here and go push this inhib. It gives you so many options with this perfect 4-1 basically, right? Instead, what you do is you 5-man the right lane. This is going to work because for some reason, Protagonist is over here. I'm not sure what the call for this was or anything, but Protagonist was still here, which is a huge mistake, so that doesn't do anything. The mid lane, Swek is here. Don't know why he's getting green in this situation when they're pushing inhib, so it's a huge misplay by Juke City, basically. So just think about your lane allocation, what your comp's good at, you know, 1-3-1, 1-4, or 5-man and such. This is a perfect 1-4 comp when you have a Feng Mao involved in these 4 heroes with 2 initiators and a good peel mage. You've got a great 4-1, basically, and you want to utilize that by basically sending your 1 to the split push lane, which in this case is going to be that lane because it has a tier 2 up, and it's a side lane. You always make it a side lane. And then you send your 4 to basically the lane that gets pushed first, or at least 1 person to that lane, while the other 3 go to the lane that you're going to primarily push. And the one that you first push, which is the slow push, is the one that's most push out initially, and usually the one that matches where their carry goes. Okay? And basically, before you set that up, as I said, all move through between the lanes, so either move to green side jungle or off lane jungle in the meantime as you come out of base with Prime, while you wait to see how the lanes, they've allocated their lanes so you can match them stronger, okay? But this is a great dive nonetheless. Fearless goes in with ult, he tanks the tower, they pick up the kill on Janto, they sort of go for this, Ace goes picks off Emperor at the back, which is really good from him as an assassin Feng Mao. They've got Prime, they're just pretty much going to push it in this, yeah, so there's not much to say at this point, but they just perfectly execute the dive, and then go for core. Sweka tries to redeem it, not going to do anything. Howie goes to ult, he's just going to ult on top of the core, and it's going to be a game. So, good job to Ignite. But lots of things that, like, each team can improve on there, and I hope that sort of stuff comes in useful that I just said there to both the teams. But boy, that... whew, lungs. But feel free to watch the VODs over and stuff if you want to learn more off of this and everything. I hope it was useful to the teams and stuff. Okay, I'm going to do one more, then I'm going to play with Shadow.